They laughed when I poured the first footing. Not the nervous kind. The confident kind, the kind people laugh when they believe authority is the same thing as truth. I had just bought the low parcel at the edge of the neighborhood, the one everyone warned me about with lowered voices and half smiles.
Teamwork makes it happen.
Floodplain, they said. Runoff issues. What no one mentioned, what the maps quietly showed, was that the entire subdivision drained through my land like a funnel someone had slowly pinched shut over the years. Every shortcut, every beautification project, every curb extended for symmetry had stolen a little capacity from the watershed. It worked because storms are patient until they aren't. I didn't argue. I didn't attend meetings to convince anyone. I read. County code was clear. A private flood control wall was permitted on private land if it did not divert water beyond historical flow. That phrase, historical flow, is where confidence goes to die. I hired a licensed surveyor. Then a hydrologist. We pulled 50 years of rainfall data, pre-development topography, old aerials from before the first cul-de-sac ever curved across the hill. We modeled it all. The numbers told a simple story: the land had been asked to do less while the water was asked to do more. So I designed a wall. Not tall. Not theatrical. Reinforced concrete with a steel rebar cage and a capped face, clean, almost boring. The real work was in the spillway, a precisely sized throat designed to pass exactly what the land historically carried before the neighborhood tried to outsmart gravity with landscaping stones and good intentions. When the HOA board showed up for inspection, they didn't look at the plans. They looked at me. One member circled the footing and laughed. Another asked if it was temporary. Someone joked about selling tickets when it failed. The president, clipboard hugged to her chest like a shield, declared it an aesthetic violation and warned me that unauthorized structures would be addressed. I asked for the warning in writing. They were happy to oblige. The storm rolled in that evening the way serious storms do, quietly, with patience. No thunder. No drama. Just a steady rain that knew exactly how long it planned to stay. I sat on my porch with a thermos and a notebook. Water began to pool behind the wall, calm as a held breath. The spillway engaged, releasing a controlled sheet that slid away without splash or protest. Everything behaved exactly as designed. Up the hill, things began to feel different. Years of HOA improvements had narrowed the drainage path. Swales trimmed for uniformity. Culverts half-filled with decorative rock. A fence installed just far enough into the channel to make the maintenance crew's job easier, on paper. As the rain persisted, water backed up faster than the system could move it. Lawns softened. Gutters overflowed. The street, crowned and proud, turned into a shallow bowl. Someone noticed my wall. Phones came out. Messages flew. I received 3 calls in 5 minutes. I didn't answer. I was busy documenting. Time-stamped photos, rainfall totals from the county gauge, flow measurements at the spillway. Calm work. Boring work. The kind that survives scrutiny. The first knock came hard. "Open this gate," someone shouted. "You're blocking the drainage." I stepped outside in a raincoat, clipboard tucked under my arm. I asked which statute authorized entry onto private property during an active storm event. No one answered. They shouted uphill instead. Then gravity collected its debt. A narrowed HOA-maintained swale approved years ago for curb appeal reached capacity and failed. Water spilled into the street, followed the sidewalks, then found the path of least resistance, the HOA office at the bottom of the slope. It wasn't cinematic. It was worse. Relentless inches that don't care about excuses. Panic has a sound. Its doors slamming, alarms chirping, voices cracking as paper floats and furniture shifts. Water crept under the office door, then surged when the backed-up street finally released. Files soaked. Boxes collapsed. Someone yelled about the server room. Someone else screamed that the records weren't digitized yet. They called the county. The county called me. I met the inspector at the gate as the rain eased, the storm nearly spent. I handed over the permits, the hydrology report, the photographs. He walked the wall, measured the spillway, checked the release. He asked if I'd diverted water. I pointed to the data. He nodded. Gravity, after all, keeps excellent records. By morning, the rain was gone. The wall stood clean and unmarked. The spillway trickled to nothing. I brewed coffee and waited. The meeting request arrived at noon. They were subdued this time. Damp suits. Tired eyes. No jokes. They asked carefully if I'd consider adjustments. I asked what they meant. They suggested I open the wall during storms. I reminded them that opening it would increase downstream risk, including to my home, and violate the same code they'd cited against me. I suggested, instead, that they restore their drainage to capacity. They asked who would pay. I slid a folder across the table. Inside were photos of filled culverts, narrowed channels, and HOA-approved landscaping that violated county requirements. I didn't accuse. I didn't editorialize. I let the paper speak. The vote to rescind my warning letter passed unanimously. Over the next month, the neighborhood dug. They widened. They removed the pretty stones. They restored the swales. The next storm came and went without incident. No panic. No shouting. Just rain doing what rain has always done. No one joked about the wall again. Sometimes malicious compliance isn't loud. It doesn't gloat. It reads the rules, respects the land, and waits patiently for gravity to tell the truth.